There are 44 countries that make up the European continent. 700 million citizens live in it. 27 of these countries, like those whose young people participated in the project, young project coordinators grow up. Italy, Portugal, Czech Republic, Lithuania, Slovakia are part of the European Union, a civil and political reality in continuous numerical expansion, with different cultures and traditions, united by the same values and objectives, united in diversity. The European Union is much closer than you might imagine. It plays an important role in our everyday lives. With its financing programs, it seeks the active participation of citizens in political, economic and social choices in the territories and communities in which they live. The project, Young Project Coordinators Grow Up, represents a concrete example of this and explains how advantageous it is to live in the EU. Young people from 5 European countries, led by Italy, facilitated by partner organizations with experience in running European programs, competed in designing a series of proposals that await their candidacy in the next European calls. The following is their brief illustration. There is an aspect that strikes in the project activity of all the groups involved in the respective workshops, countries foreseen in the project, Young Project Coordinators Grow Up, the expressed expectation that Europe and the dialogue between its communities can represent a promise of possible future for each and everyone. Yes, this was our intent when designing the project, Change the World Around You, in the Czech workshop, because we are truly convinced that another world is possible, realizing the European prophecy, with dialogue, direct participation, civic protagonism and the reference in our choices to the inspiring principles of the European Union. We Slovaks share the approach given by our Czech friends on the novelty designed by the European construct, with an essential addition for us, designed in the project proposal, renewal of community life, that of defending and strengthening the cultural roots of one's own community, like that of Kajsake Nové Mesto, convinced as we are that strong identities are the prerequisite for a solid European civil and political community enriched by diversity. One of the themes developed by our project workshop in Portugal is closely linked to the project, Young Project Coordinators Grow Up, of which our proposal CONEECTION, NEET Can Action represents a consequent development, suggesting planning, implementation and evaluation tools and techniques useful for ensure success of Erasmus projects. The environmental issue is clearly also a consequence of human behavior that is inattentive to the preservation of a balance in ecosystems. The most alarmed are you young and very young people, and this alarm is reflected in the number of project proposals produced in the project workshops of this project. It is true. We are alarmed by the catastrophic events that take place in every part of the globe, brought to our attention daily by the media, but what strikes us more, to the point of thinking that this is crazy, is the superficiality and indifference of political decision-makers, ready to declamations and reluctant to adopt real countermeasures. Like those proposed by us Italian participants with the project, Smart City and Sustainable Planet, in the proposal on farming and food consumption of meat and dispersed plastics. Not dissimilar is also one of the proposals produced in our laboratory in the Czech Republic. In the draft project proposal entitled, Don't Be Afraid of Change, we addressed the issue of lifestyles and how to counteract stereotypes dictated by the custom of thought and behavior, on a healthy and wholesome quality of personal and community living. The prejudice we live in is that natural resources are inexhaustible and that daily choices on eating habits, consumption and defense of the earth and its products may be useful but ultimately not indispensable. One of the project lines that we developed in Portugal with the proposal, Save the Environment, Become a Green Hero. It was also for us, the environmental one. We did this by identifying a social mission for us young people, that of representing and denouncing the growing drama of climate change and committing ourselves to being ambassadors of environmental sustainability in Europe and in the world. It was no different for us Italians. In the workshop in Norcia, the city of St. Benedict, patron saint of Europe, developing the proposal, Sportquake, a jolt of life. However, the angle of observation that our group reserved for the environment was different from the environmental question, understood as an alarm for its deterioration. Instead, we have developed the aspect of its valorization and how this can represent the driving force for the development of a sustainable and resilient society to change. The two project proposals produced by the Lithuanian partner were interesting to the project evaluators, only apparently plural, but which instead both argue on the issues of youth problems and the need to overcome cultural and behavioral stereotypes that have made their time. In our draft project proposal entitled, How to Leave the Stereotypes Behind, we identified the category of the stereotype as a limit from which we can escape, a mental and behavioral laziness that we think does not help individual growth and that of our communities. Among the many stereotypes we discussed, one in particular emerged, which we agreed needed to be addressed and removed, that of gender, on the alleged social superiority of the male, in public and private life. Our other project workshop, Think Healthy, Feel Healthy, has developed a theme that is well connected to the categories of stereotype and preconception, that of mental distress and youth social maladjustment. The invitation to think healthy and feel healthy, that our working group felt the need to address to itself and to make it the subject of a possible project proposal for a European call, is the result of an inconvenience that in our opinion deserves attention to different levels and measures of compensation and care, for a recovery of subjective and community meaning for many young people. The project is co-funded by the European Union under the Erasmus Plus program European Youth Together and implemented by GSI Italia in partnership with the Portuguese Association Embaixada da Juventude, the Lithuanian Association Tavo Europa, the Czech Association ICM Jindřichův Radek ZS and the Slovak Association SYTEV.
Smart City!
Connection!
Think healthy, feel healthy!
The world around you.
How to leave stereotypes behind.
Sportquake, a jolt of life.
Don't be afraid of change.
Renewal of community life.
Save the environmental, become a green hero.
Giovani velocisti crescono!